I'm not gonna sit here and say that I'm the Pope myself or an angel myself, but you know, I don't associate myself with demons or animals and people that just have no heart whatsoever.
You know what I'm talking about. A Memphis superstar gone, a city in mourning, and a case that's gripped the nation. For nearly 4 years, the murder of Young Dolph has been a cloud hanging over the hip-hop world. But now, things are getting even more complicated. Hernandez Goven, the man accused of orchestrating the hit, is speaking. And what he's saying is raising serious questions about who else was involved. Where is Yo Gotti? Let's dive in. Unfortunately, it became clear very quickly that Young Dolph was going to be a star, and so Gotti waged war with him through music. The man at the center of all of this, Hernandez Goven, who's facing charges for first-degree murder, conspiracy, and attempted first-degree murder in connection to the shooting death of Memphis rapper Young Dolph in November of 2021, nearly 4 years after Young Dolph was murdered. Shocking courtroom testimony has reignited questions about the case's biggest mystery. The trial was originally set to start on March 10th. It has now been pushed back to July of 2025. In the wake of the case development and the killing of Gotti's brother, Big Juke, Yo Gotti has noticeably scaled back his public appearances and social media activity. No charges have been filed, but the silence speaks volumes. The blogs are buzzing, fan theories multiply. In the court of public opinion, Yo Gotti's silence has become its own headline, and everyone's listening. But let's rewind a bit. Before Hernandez Goven's name became synonymous with this tragedy, he was largely a figure operating in the shadows. Let's look at his background and the charges he's facing. Hernandez Goven was a relatively unknown figure outside of Memphis. But within law enforcement circles, Goven had been on the radar for years. That changed dramatically in late 2022 when prosecutors unveiled a much deeper investigation. In November 2022, Goven was indicted by a grand jury on 3 serious charges: first-degree murder, attempted first-degree murder, and conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. According to Shelby County District Attorney Steve Mulroy, Goven is believed to have been the mastermind who ordered the fatal shooting of Young Dolph, which occurred on November 17, 2021 outside Makita's Homemade Cookies in South Memphis. Prosecutors allege that Goven did not personally carry out the shooting, but conspired with others to execute the hit, a coordinating role, arranging the details that led to the ambush. Records show 43-year-old Hernandez Goven once lived just a few houses down from where the shooting occurred. At the time of the charges, Hernandez Goven was known in local Memphis circles as the father of Lakash Desto, a rising female rapper affiliated with Lil Uzi Vert. In a separate tragedy, Desto, whose real name was Destiny Goven, was shot and killed in Houston, Texas in September 2022, just weeks before her father's indictment. While authorities in Houston have not linked her death to the Dolph case, the back-to-back nature of these violent events drew considerable public attention. Public records also reveal that law enforcement had been surveilling Goven for months. Prior to his arrest, during pretrial motions, prosecutors cited cell phone data, text messages, and recorded conversations as key components of the case. While the full wiretap evidence has not been made public, the prosecution contends that these records show Goven's communications with individuals involved in the planning stages of the murder. Goven pleaded not guilty to all 3 charges, and Ina has been awaiting trial while out on a $90,000 bond. His bond release in early 2023 came under scrutiny from Dolph supporters and members of the Memphis community, but it was granted under strict conditions, including GPS monitoring and limitations on public activity. In court, Goven's legal team has maintained that there is no physical evidence tying him to the crime scene or proving he gave the final order. Prosecutors, on the other hand, continue to portray him as the architect of the murder, a man who operated from the shadows, orchestrating events that culminated in Dolph's death. Now, let's talk about what really happened in the courtroom, because what unfolded during one of the earliest major hearings wasn't a routine legal process. It was a moment that amplified online speculation. During a bond hearing in early 2023, Goven and his legal team seemed to be sending a message. While he never explicitly named Yo Gotti, his cryptic references to outside conversations and possible financial motivations sparked a firestorm online. It's important to understand the context. Hernandez Goven stood before a Memphis judge, and what he said was telling.
That I had with my son, and my son was like, you know, he wanted me to take the deal. And his position was, you know, he'd rather lose me for a few years than the rest of my life.
Right, because you're facing life in prison.
Correct.
Do you have a death penalty in Memphis?
Yeah, they do.
Listen to this. He's not directly saying, "Yo Gotti paid me," but it's heavily implied. The implication is clear. Someone else was pulling the strings. Someone with more resources, more power, someone above him. The aftermath was immediate. Social media erupted. Hashtag Where is Yachtai began trending. Fans started demanding answers, and Yo Gotti seemingly disappeared from the public eye. For someone known to dominate social media with lifestyle reels and label success stories, the silence felt off-brand and deafening. Gotti's personal Instagram, typically active with daily content, grew quiet. No stories, no new posts, no press features. His business partner and CMG co-manager, usually active during album campaigns, stayed unusually silent. Black Youngsta, known for his brash, unapologetic online persona, also refrained from weighing in. It's crucial to remember, Yo Gotti has been charged, named as a suspect, or referenced in any court filings tied to Young Dolph's murder. Still, the optics matter. The man who once declared, "I am Memphis," and built a brand on presence and control, has gone quiet. Let's dissect this silence. Why is it so significant? In Southern hip-hop culture, especially amid legal heat, silence often isn't just a strategy, it's a message. Some read it as protection, others see it as foreshadowing, but regardless of the interpretation, it undeniably raises eyebrows. The question isn't just where is Yo Gotti, it's why is he hiding, what is he trying to conceal, and what does this silence ultimately reveal about the truth behind Young Dolph's murder? The case is far from over. The trial is still unfolding and new revelations are likely to emerge. But for now, the silence of Yo Gotti speaks louder than words. And the sheer indifference of the attackers left Memphis reeling. The initial investigation focused on gathering evidence from the scene, interviewing witnesses, and reviewing countless hours of surveillance footage. Police quickly identified a white Mercedes-Benz as the vehicle used in the shooting, a detail that would later become a focal point in online investigations. The swiftness of the execution raised immediate questions. Who had the resources and the motive to orchestrate such a brazen attack? While police publicly remained tight-lipped about the investigation, the internet was already buzzing with theories, fueled by the long-standing tension between Young Dolph and Yo Gotti. Old beefs, past incidents, and cryptic lyrics were dissected and reanalyzed, with each piece of information treated as a potential clue. The narrative quickly shifted from mourning a beloved artist to a relentless pursuit of answers, driven by a community desperate for justice. The digital trail, however, proved to be a tangled web of speculation and misinformation. Online sleuths zeroed in on the white Mercedes, tracing its ownership and movements in the days leading up to the murder. Some claim to have identified the shooters, sharing grainy photos and unsubstantiated claims on social media. Others focused on potential connections between the shooters and individuals associated with CMG. While these online investigations offered a sense of urgency and engagement, they also highlighted the dangers of relying on unverified information and the potential for spreading false narratives. The constant flow of rumors and speculation complicated the official investigation, making it difficult to separate fact from fiction. The silence from CMG in particular became a source of intense scrutiny. Yo Gotti, a man known for his constant presence on social media, abruptly ceased posting, creating an unsettling void in the digital landscape. Moneybagg Yo, another prominent CMG artist, also remained relatively quiet, fueling further speculation. The lack of a public statement from CMG, especially given the magnitude of the tragedy, seemed to amplify the perception of guilt by association. The internet, always quick to draw conclusions, saw this silence as a calculated move to deflect suspicion. The usual promotional posts, the label updates, the artist features, all vanished, leaving a vacuum that fans and critics alike eagerly filled with their own interpretations. It was as if the label was attempting to disappear, hoping that the controversy would eventually subside. Yet the more they retreated, the louder the accusations grew. The turning point arrived not through official channels, but through a digital leak. A fragmented audio recording purportedly containing a confession from Hernandez Goven.
Well, at one point, Young Dolph and Yo Gotti started getting into it. Do you know the reason why the friction actually started? Because you hear like 20 different stories.
Well, from what I understand, I know Gotti tried to sign him years ago. And, you know, for whatever reason, Dolph decided not to. I think Dolph was
While the authenticity of the recording was initially disputed, the details it contained were too specific to be dismissed outright. According to the recording, Goven claimed that he was hired by Gotti to orchestrate the hit on Young Dolph, motivated by financial incentives and a desire to settle old scores. The recording detailed the planning of the attack, the recruitment of the shooters, and the subsequent cover-up. The revelation sent shockwaves through the hip-hop community and beyond. Suddenly, the online speculation seemed to coalesce into a concrete possibility. The emergence of the recording triggered a frenzy of activity. News outlets clamored for confirmation, legal experts dissected the potential implications, and social media exploded with reactions. The hashtag Gotti paid for Dolph began trending globally, eclipsing previous discussions and dominating the digital conversation. The recording, even with its disputed authenticity, provided a narrative that many were desperate to believe. It explained the brazenness of the attack, the silence from CMG, and the unanswered questions that had haunted the investigation for so long. It offered a sense of closure, albeit a deeply unsettling one. The investigation into Goven's claims became a parallel track to the official police probe. While authorities remained cautious about relying solely on the recording, they couldn't ignore the potential value of the information it contained. Goven was brought in for questioning, and the interrogation transcripts became another source of online speculation. According to leaked summaries, Goven's account was inconsistent and riddled with contradictions. He initially denied involvement in the murder, but later admitted to being a key player in the conspiracy, albeit claiming he was acting under duress. His lawyers argued that he was being manipulated by others and that he was simply trying to protect himself. They emphasized his personal hardships, including the tragic loss of his daughter, and argued that he was being unfairly targeted. The circumstances surrounding the death of Lotta Cash Desto, Goven's daughter, added another layer of complexity to the case. Her fatal shooting in Houston just weeks before Goven's indictment was initially attributed to a random act of violence. However, as the investigation into Young Dolph's murder deepened, questions arose about whether her death was connected to the broader conspiracy. Was it a message intended to intimidate Goven or his associates? Or was it a tragic coincidence? The lack of clear answers only fueled the speculation and added to the sense of unease. The official court filings, while limited in detail, offered glimpses into the scope of the investigation. Prosecutors revealed that they had gathered a significant amount of evidence linking Goven to the conspiracy, including phone records, financial transactions, and witness testimonies. They also hinted at the involvement of other individuals, both within and outside of Memphis, but refrained from naming them publicly. The possibility of additional arrests loomed large, further complicating the already tangled web of relationships and allegiances. The prosecution painted a picture of a meticulously planned operation driven by greed, ambition, and a desire for revenge. The trial of Goven promises to be a spectacle, a high-stakes showdown between justice and obfuscation. The potential for explosive testimony, leaked evidence, and dramatic revelations has already captured the attention of the world. The trial will not only determine Goven's guilt or innocence, but also shed light on the wider conspiracy and the individuals who orchestrated it. The trial will be a referendum on the power of online speculation, the complexities of the justice system, and the enduring legacy of Young Dolph. The digital community will be watching, ready to dissect every detail and pronounce its own verdict. The silence of Gotti and the potential unraveling of CMG hangs heavy over the proceedings, adding another layer of suspense and intrigue to an already gripping narrative. The courtroom and the internet await the truth, and the street's own verdict have all collided. In Memphis, that silence isn't always golden. Sometimes it's a shield, obscuring a more complicated truth. The digital community, fueled by fragmented information and a thirst for closure, has become a courtroom of its own, dissecting every nuance, every fleeting expression, every leaked document. Bloggers, once mere commentators, are now amateur. Detectives meticulously cross-referencing lyrics, scrutinizing social media posts, and tracing financial transactions. Many have delved into the history of the tensions between Young Dolph and Gotti, outlining the years of verbal sparring, the simmering resentment, the public displays of animosity that culminated in a devastating act of violence.
Now, what about Young Dolph?
Yeah, I knew Dolph personally. Yes, sir. We did business years ago before he actually blew up. He was rapping at the time, but he hadn't blown up yet. just being in the streets.
It's a digital mosaic, painstakingly pieced together from fragments of truth and speculation, a far cry from the controlled environment of a courtroom, but no less potent in its ability to shape public perception. The danger, of course, lies in the ease with which misinformation can spread, how a single misinterpreted lyric, a carelessly worded tweet can be amplified and distorted, transforming a nuanced situation into a caricature of reality, and the consequences can be profound, damaging reputations, inciting violence, and obstructing the pursuit of justice. The cease and desist letters sent to some of these bloggers are a testament to the sensitivity of the situation, a warning that the truth, however fragmented, comes at a price. These letters aren't just about protecting reputations, they're about controlling the narrative, silencing dissenting voices, and maintaining a semblance of order in a chaotic digital landscape. The online fervor has also highlighted the enduring legacy of Young Dolph, his status not just as a rapper, but as a symbol of independent artistry and community empowerment. His ability to connect with his fans on a personal level, his commitment to giving back to his hometown, his unwavering belief in the power of his music. These are the qualities that have resonated with millions, creating a loyal following that transcends geographical boundaries and demographic divides. His death left a void that can never be truly filled, but his music continues to inspire and uplift, a testament to the enduring power of art to heal and connect. The tension in the courtroom itself has been palpable, observers noting the strained interactions between the prosecution and defense, the subtle cues of frustration and determination. The testimony of the witnesses, often hesitant and contradictory, has only deepened the sense of mystery, leaving the jury to grapple with conflicting accounts and incomplete information. The reliance on digital forensics, the painstaking analysis of cell phone records and text messages, underscores the challenges of navigating the complexities of the digital age, where every communication leaves a trace, every location is recorded. These digital footprints, once invisible, are now critical pieces of evidence, capable of exposing hidden connections and revealing previously unknown motives. Yet they are also vulnerable to manipulation, susceptible to misinterpretation, and capable of producing false leads. The sudden sidebar during a pretrial hearing, the hushed voices and furtive glances, has sparked a frenzy of speculation online, theories ranging from sealed evidence to federal cooperation. The reference to Big Juke, Yo Gotti's older brother, in an earlier hearing and his subsequent death have added another layer of complexity to an already convoluted narrative. The timing of Juke's killing so close to the trial and following, his name being uttered in court, is undeniably suspicious, fueling speculation about retaliation and deeper connections. The investigation into his death, described as targeted, has only intensified the sense of unease, leaving many to wonder whether his death was a direct consequence of the trial proceedings. And then there's the silence, the conspicuous absence of Yo Gotti's name in formal courtroom testimony, a silence that speaks volumes, a void that begs to be filled. Is it a sign of innocence, a testament to his lack of involvement, or is it a calculated strategy, a deliberate attempt to evade scrutiny? The defense continues to challenge the prosecution's narrative, vigorously contesting the claim that Goven orchestrated the hit. They argue that Goven is a scapegoat, a convenient target for a crime that was far more complex and far-reaching than the prosecution is willing to admit. They point to inconsistencies in the witness testimonies, question the reliability of the digital evidence, and highlight the lack of direct evidence linking Goven to the actual shooting. Their goal is to create reasonable doubt, to convince the jury that the prosecution has failed to prove Goven's guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. The prosecution, in turn, is working to connect the dots, to weave together a narrative that establishes Goven's role as the mastermind behind the murder. They are relying heavily on circumstantial evidence, on the totality of the circumstances, to prove that Goven had the motive, the opportunity, and the means to commit the crime. They are also hoping to elicit testimony from witnesses who can corroborate their version of events. Witnesses who can shed light on Goven's involvement in the conspiracy. The digital community, meanwhile, continues to dissect every detail, to analyze every nuance, to construct their own narratives based on the available information.
Why do they keep trying to make it a rap beef between you and Gotti, though?
If it's something about you I just don't respect, bro, I can't sit and fake and act like it's all good.
That's understandable.
Know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, the first time I even met little dude, go in the studio. First time. He sent everybody out the studio. Like, let me holler at dog. Like, man, you got your own everything. Bro. You popping. Like, bro, you got the money. You got your team. You got this. You got that. Like, bro, I'm telling you, we can do this. We can do that. You ain't like Zilla. I ain't gotta hold your hand like Zilla. You ain't like Starlito. I ain't gotta hold your hand like Starlito. I ain't gotta babysit you like them. It's my first time meeting you. You gonna really sit and downplay your artist and throw your artist up on the bus to try to persuade me in to come over there? So it's like a red alert the first time I met him.
You feel like
I can't
what are you gonna say
respect
about
that.
me?
No, it's just, I can't respect that.
They are the jury of the internet, a virtual courtroom where opinions are formed, judgments are passed, and reputations are made or broken, and their verdict, while lacking the legal weight of a court of law, can have a profound impact on public perception and the pursuit of justice. The streets talk, the fans speculate, and the bloggers investigate, and the danger of speculation looms large, threatening to distort the truth and obstruct the path to closure. The memory of Young Dolph serves as a constant reminder of the human cost of violence, the enduring pain of loss, and the urgent need for justice. The trial, a complex and multifaceted process, is not just about determining the guilt or innocence of Hernandez Goven. It's about uncovering the truth, exposing the conspiracy, and bringing closure to a community that has been scarred by tragedy. The quest for justice is a long and arduous journey, fraught with challenges and uncertainties, but the pursuit of truth must continue, unwavering and relentless, until the full story is revealed, and those responsible are held accountable. The silence, the rumors, the investigations, they all contribute to a portrait of a situation far more complicated than a simple act of violence. The legacy of Young Dolph continues to ripple through the community, inspiring acts of kindness, fostering a spirit of resilience, and reminding everyone of the power of music to unite and heal. As the trial unfolds, the world watches, waiting for answers, seeking closure, and hoping that justice will ultimately prevail. The voices of the streets echo with a demand for truth, a yearning for accountability, and a commitment to honoring the memory of a fallen icon, thus louder than words. The digital clamor surrounding Hernandez Goven's trial wasn't simply about legal proceedings, it was a societal reckoning. The internet, a breeding ground for speculation and fueled by fragmented pieces of information, amplified the questions swirling around Young Dolph's death. It wasn't enough to analyze witness testimonies or pore over digital evidence. The online community demanded answers, demanded accountability, and what emerged was a narrative, complex and unsettling, suggesting a conspiracy far greater than a single gunman. The initial focus was on Hernandez Goven, the primary defendant, but the questions quickly shifted. If Goven was the shooter, as the prosecution alleged, who was the puppet master? Who gave the order? The whispers began, insidious and persistent, pointing towards Yo Gotti, a prominent figure in the Memphis rap scene and a longtime rival of Young Dolph. The connection, tenuous at first, grew stronger with each leaked snippet, each online theory, each accusation hurled across social media platforms. The defense team relentlessly attacked the prosecution's case, meticulously dissecting the evidence and highlighting the lack of a direct link between Goven and the masterminds of the operation. They painted a picture of a man manipulated, a pawn in a larger game. But the digital community wasn't convinced. They scrutinized Goven's past, his connections, his alleged associations, searching for clues that would solidify their suspicions. They sought out old interviews, analyzed social media posts, and pieced together a timeline that seemed to place Goven in close proximity to individuals linked to Yo Gotti. Then something unexpected happened, a development so significant, so explosive, that it threatened to dismantle everything. A key witness, someone deeply involved in the events surrounding Young Dolph's murder, came forward. This wasn't just another anonymous tip or a vague online claim. This was a direct confession, a detailed account of the events leading up to the shooting, implicating Yo Gotti as the individual who orchestrated the hit. The information, initially shared through encrypted channels and whispered in underground circles, quickly leaked onto the internet. The impact was immediate and devastating. The digital community erupted. The theories that had once been relegated to the fringes of online discussion suddenly seemed plausible, even inevitable. The hashtag Justice for Dolph trended worldwide, accompanied by a torrent of outrage and demands for Yo Gotti's arrest. The witness, whose identity remains largely protected, described a series of meetings and conversations where Yo Gotti allegedly outlined a plan to eliminate Young Dolph. The motive, according to the testimony, stemmed from a long-standing feud over territory, money, and influence within the Memphis rap scene.
You can't have no issue. I ain't got no issue with you. Like, bro, you don't. I done took care of people in his family, put money in their pocket. Know what I mean?
Mhm.
So like, I don't want to go too much into that, bro, because it's like, no.
Young Dolph's independent success, his ability to thrive outside the traditional label system, represented a direct challenge to Yo Gotti's empire, a threat he seemingly couldn't tolerate. The witness detailed how Yo Gotti allegedly provided the funds to hire Hernandez Goven and others to carry out the hit. He described the meticulous planning that went into the operation, the surveillance of Young Dolph's movements, and the selection of the location. He explained how Yo Gotti ensured that there was plausible deniability, a carefully constructed alibi that would protect him from direct involvement. The revelation sent shockwaves through the legal system. The prosecution, initially focused solely on Hernandez Goven, was now faced with a far more complex and dangerous situation. They were forced to reevaluate their strategy, to investigate Yo Gotti's potential involvement, and to consider the possibility of expanding the charges. The defense team, initially fighting to create reasonable doubt regarding Goven's guilt, now faced the daunting task of defending their client against allegations that implicated him in a much larger conspiracy. But they vehemently denied the witness's testimony, dismissing it as fabricated and self-serving, an attempt to deflect blame and escape justice. They argued that the witness was motivated by revenge and a desire for fame, that he was willing to lie under oath to achieve his goals. But the damage was done. The internet, already primed for outrage, seized upon the new information with voracious intensity. Memes mocking Yo Gotti proliferated across social media platforms. Online petitions demanding his arrest garnered hundreds of thousands of signatures. The hashtag #ExposeYoGotti became the new rallying cry for justice. The trial of Hernandez Goven, once a straightforward case of murder, had transformed into a high-stakes drama, a spectacle played out not only in the courtroom but also on the world stage. The internet, the ultimate arbiter of public opinion, had spoken, and the message was clear. Yo Gotti was not above the law. The investigation into Yo Gotti's potential involvement intensified. Law enforcement officials raided his properties, interviewed his associates, and scrutinized his financial records. The pressure mounted, the scrutiny relentless. The digital community remained vigilant, monitoring every development, dissecting every nuance, waiting for the moment when justice would finally be served. The testimony of the witness, while explosive, was not without its challenges. The prosecution was forced to confront the inherent risks of relying on a potentially unreliable source. The defense team seized upon these weaknesses relentlessly, attacking the witness's credibility, attempting to undermine his testimony, and cast doubt on his motives. The legal battle was far from over. The trial of Hernandez Goven was merely one chapter in a much larger story, a saga of rivalry, betrayal, and violence that had gripped the Memphis rap scene for years. The truth, it seemed, was buried deep, shrouded in secrecy and protected by layers of deception. The legacy of Young Dolph continued to inspire and motivate. His music resonated with a generation, his message of positivity and perseverance transcending the boundaries of genre and geography. He was a symbol of hope, a testament to the power of hard work and determination, and his memory served as a constant reminder of the importance of justice. The online community remained unified in their demand for accountability. They organized virtual rallies, created online memorials, and shared stories of Young Dolph's impact on their lives. They were not simply spectators, they were active participants in the pursuit of justice. The trial of Hernandez Goven was not just about determining the guilt or innocence of one man. It was about exposing a network of corruption and bringing closure to a community that had been scarred by tragedy. It was about sending a message that no one, no matter how powerful or influential, was above the law. The digital realm, once a breeding ground for speculation and misinformation, had become a powerful tool for advocacy and accountability. It had amplified the voices of the marginalized, exposed the secrets of the powerful, and forced those in positions of authority to confront the consequences of their actions. The future of justice, it seemed, would be shaped not only by the decisions of judges and juries, but also by the vigilance and determination of the internet community. The search for truth, the demand for justice, they echoed louder than ever before. The search for truth, the demand for justice, they echoed louder than ever before.